Some call them flying rats, which really makes my blood boil.
But I like all pigeons in general. I still like even the common street pigeon.
We're not in it for the money.
It's just a good, wholesome hobby.
It's a goal that you want to make. You go by a standard, and you work for that standard. It might take you 2 years, 5 years, or your whole lifetime.
Creating something, you're almost like an artist.
The sky rat, pigeon by day, gutter rat by night. Such urban mythologies have transformed a creature that was once revered into a living disgrace. What most people don't realize is that the bird that scavenges our dumpsters and defiles our windshields once played an important role in formulating the theory of evolution and continues to enlighten the eccentricities of genetics.
Europe is really the beginning of the whole hobby. Just people started playing with them and experimenting with them and getting unusual birds out of them.
Charles Darwin, father of the theory of evolution and a pigeon fancier himself, dedicated an entire chapter to pigeons in his seminal work on the origin of species. What was a common hobby in Darwin's time has become an underground counterculture today. Though it is little known outside of its own circles, pigeon fancying is still widespread. An estimated 1 million people worldwide raise homing pigeons alone, and millions more raise close to 1,000 different varieties.
Basically, there are 3 different facets to the hobby: food, showing, and aerial competition.
Aerial competitors are birds judged on their ability to perform in the air. Homing pigeons, for example, are released from distances that are sometimes hundreds of miles away, and they are judged on how quickly they're able to return home. Fancy pigeons such as the Jacobin are birds with exaggerated physical characteristics. And food pigeons, much like chickens, are raised for their meat and eggs. Though it might be hard to believe, these fancy birds are all a single species derived from the simple rock dove. Each breed is the work of generations of breeders who display their craft in fancy pigeon shows around the world.
Everything you see here are birds that are being judged for the show. I mean, you look at the variety you have here, and they all come from the original rock dove, which basically is the wild pigeon you see out under the overpass. And that's what most people think about, those birds under the overpass, but you can see what you can do with them.
Each breeder is an amateur geneticist, perpetually seeking the perfect bird by selecting a wide range of characteristics in parent birds.
This one was grand champion in its variety.
That bird, I think, is probably the best I've ever raised. And I started in 1967. The gene pools could produce anything, and there's no guarantee that that bird will be duplicated again.
Part of what made Tony's champion a winner was its rare yellow color. Tony had to follow a complicated set of genetic guidelines to produce a bird with the color characteristics he wanted.
You can't just mate 5 different birds together and get that color. You have to have that gene.
The cocks carry 2 color genes. The hens carry 1, and they have a neutral. So the only color gene the hen carries is what you see, while the cock can carry a recessive color that's recessive to what he shows.
So you try to use the male to try to grab that color. It's always a little easier.
While many of Tony's pigeons are bred for looks, some people breed pigeons for unusual behaviors. One such breed is the rolling pigeon, known for its airborne acrobatics.
I believe, and a lot of people believe, that it's a fault that was bred into them. Someone created a bird that did this, like a freak accident, and they thought, well, gee, let's see if we can procreate this.
Others believe their behavior was an adaptation developed to foil their primary airborne predator, the hawk.
The pigeons really can't help themselves. It's like an epileptic fit. Unfortunately, some never stop rolling, which isn't good.
Without pigeon breeders, centuries upon centuries of artificial selection will be lost. Pigeon fanciers like Tony, Andy, Vincent, and Dave feel that they are the last of generations devoted to preserving this wealth of genetic oddities.
Unfortunately, some people call it a dying hobby. I wouldn't call it dying, but it's just fading a little.